How are we doing, folks? So a few more bits turned up. So the mudguards have turned up, the alley mudguards, the 21-inch front and the 18-inch rear. And also I ordered, this is a second-hand one because I wasn't sure whether it was going to fit or not. I bought a new one, didn't want to be throwing good stuff away. The high-level exhaust. So I've stripped the old low-level exhaust stuff that we used the other day for the test run, etc. And I've also bought this, it's only cheap, a shorty to go on the end. Nothing's quite right. Obviously this is 1 3/8. That's 1.5 in that end, and it's even bigger still. It's 1 3/4 that end. But a plan to make a reducer for that, so I can marry the two pieces together. Might be a bit noisy, but it has got some kind of device inside there to try to reduce the noise. So obviously it's got a bit of perforated tubing inside and a bit of K-POC or fiberglass or whatever on the outside, but I think I still may end up having to make a dB killer for it, because certainly going to be upsetting the neighbours if I don't, which I don't want to do, because it is fairly straight through without. But yeah, nice and short, because obviously I need something short, don't want it sticking out too far. So I was going to add a couple of bits of bar stock. I was going to make a reducer with this, but when I fitted the clamps, the brackets for the headlights that go over the stanchions on the forks, I bought a bit of alley tubing, and believe it or not, this is just so close, so obviously it won't go on, but it's close, so I could just bore a little bit out the centre of that, and it's a bit too big for that, so I can bore a bit off the OD of that. So I should be able to make up a bush that I can fit on here, that this will make up that distance for this. So I have tried it on the bike, this thing, and it does go through. I've already had to make a couple of alterations just to see if the pipe will go through the gap. So let's spin you around and let's show you what's going on. Okay, the first bit was, obviously I had the oil feed pipe coming down here through the passage where the exhaust is going to go. So if you obviously I'd fitted it upside down, not knowing how it should have been, but this is how it was when I stripped the bike, because the rubber hose is fitted straight on from underneath. Now they don't fit. So that's how it was originally. So that will go. I just need to get some more 5/16 oil pipe for this flexi oil pipe. I also, because I'd obviously run the bike, had to put oil in there. There's no drain. How ridiculous is that? So what I've done, I've drilled up the centre of this banjo fitting quarter, and I've fitted a quarter BSF bolt or cap screw with a copper washer, so I can drain the oil without undoing this banjo bolt, it all flooding out everywhere. And I've also checked the return line will also go down that gap in the middle, also with the feed to the rockers, so that space is going to work in that respect. But when I put the pipe through, it still wouldn't go in, because there was I was trying to think what the hell that was welded on the frame, but it's for a pump, isn't it? So you can fit a bike pump on there. So unfortunately, not that I like sawing lumps off frames, obviously that had to go. But now the pipe will fit through. Just have to tap the so that does the job. Obviously the mudguard at the moment's in the way. Obviously I've just thrown those on just to look at the profile, but I want to do the exhaust first because when the exhaust is in place it'll give me how much I need to nick out of the mudguard. So that's definitely going to go there. Then obviously with the adapter that we're going to make, that, and you can get a little bracket with this, that's going to go voila. And maybe I'll just twist and reshape this to pick up on here, so it's going to be something like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make with this our reducer adapter to make that between that and that. So we'll make it a tight fit on one of them and a slide fit on the other. And if I make it a good fit, then I shouldn't have to put a Benelli clamp on it or an exhaust clamp. So if I was going to do that, I'd have to slit it anyway so it can close up and grip. So let's see how we go with that. So we'll make that bit first and let's see what it looks like when it's in there. So we'll be back directly. So we've converted our bit of tube in. So I've made it so it's going to be a tight fit on here, so I'll have to knock this on, hopefully, and I'm hoping it's going to slide on the silencer. So we're on there. Let's see if it's swelled it up a bit, maybe, hopefully not. That's going to go. Let's just drop this on now. Hopefully it'll go through with this bushing on it. Oh yeah. I'll just spin this up so it just holds it a little bit more securely. So we're tight there. So hopefully, if I come round the other side, I'd like it to go on without being hammered, but let's see how good the fit is. Yeah, I'll have to tap it. Okay, we bottomed out. So yeah, that's gonna go. And this, if I modify this bracket to pick up maybe on here or something, don't know whether, I think the rear pegs go further to the back, not sure, or do they? See if we can find out where the rear pegs sit. Rear pegs go fairly forward, so I could put this maybe in the middle of these two. I don't know what all these holes are for, but yeah, pegs are up there. So maybe I could use this one, give this a bend and a kink, and that is going to work out, isn't it? Definitely. So just let me modify this bracket and we'll come straight back. Okay, we're on. Absolutely solid. Just give the bracket a bit of a few twists. Just change the length a bit, and it's absolutely solid and not touching anywhere, which is I'm impressed with that. So obviously I'm going to have to do something with a dB killer. I'll start it up first and see what it sounds like, but I think I'm going to end up having to silence it a little bit more somehow. But now that's allowed me to move on to the next bit, which is the alley guards. So I will have to take a scallop out of here. What I did, even though it's a wider back wheel, because it's only a WM2 rim, and I've got to manage to put a 4-inch wide tyre on it, it still keeps the profile fairly narrow. I've got a 4-inch on the back of the B50, but that's got a WM3 and the tyre ends up being a lot wider, so I had to put a 6-inch wide mudguard on that one. This one I only need a 5-inch wide, so that one was a D section, this is a C section. But it means that the chain and the chain guard, this will actually miss without cutting lumps out of it. But I will have to cut a piece out for the exhaust. So it is going to go. So it's going to be, obviously it's going to be about that length. Obviously cut off the other end because this one's got the rolled edge. And I'm going to put a couple of nice aluminium spacers on there, because again this would be for a D profile, not a C profile, but that will work out quite nicely. So I'm going to now have to hack a few lumps off it and cut it down to length so it'll get past this where the pipe comes through, but it's gonna work out okay without too much butchering and cutting. So up to now it's looking not too bad. So this one first, and then we'll work our way on the front one. Got a couple of ideas for the front one. I was going to go for the same as the B50 B25 oil in frame, but I've decided to stay away from that. I can do it another way. But let's get this one done first. So we'll hack a few bits off, drill a few holes, and let's see what it looks like. So we'll be back soon. Okay, as you can see, back mudguard is fitted. Quite pleased with how it turned out. Not as simple as I thought. I was hoping with a C-section that I managed to get the this side, the chain side, without cutting anything away, but it's a lot narrower swing arm than an oil in frame or a B50, so I've had to cut a few pieces out, but not a great deal, but it has turned out very well. So I had to hack a few lumps off, so I've removed that much off the length, and I had to slice that much out to get the exhaust through, and I still had to slice a little bit off the left hand side for the chain guard, but it has turned out quite good. So still picking up on the original mounts, the 4 original mounts. If only BSA would have put that flange for these two that way up, it would have made life a lot easier, but you really struggle to get the nuts on there. But they are stainless nuts, and they have got mudguard washers underneath. So that was that end sorted, with the scallop for the exhaust. Maybe didn't need to go, I could have gone maybe 10 mil lower there, because obviously the relationship between this and this never changes because it's unaffected by the suspension. But coming back to the other mount, because it's a C section and not a D section, I've put these aluminium standoffs here, which just drops it down a little bit, which gives this, I think, a better profile here. Still got plenty of travel for the suspension, not that it'll ever get up that far. A small cutout in the back light for the cable. Cable's already through, ready to be cut to length, all tested, light works and everything, all good. And then there's a couple of fixings for this. This is a Bonnie Thruxton later model LED, which I like these units. You can get them off eBay for about 30-40 quid. Very, very low power consumption, and I think they look quite well. So they're all mounted stainless steel, and there is one M6 going that way underneath the number plate, which keeps it very rigid. So if I just spin it, if I can. Without losing my full regard. So I just had to scallop this piece out here, because obviously for the suspension travel. But yeah, it's all worked out quite nice. It's obviously very rigid, so I'm very pleased with that. So we're now left with the front, so let's just have a look at the front. So yeah, the 21-inch alley that I bought, I can't remember now, that's probably, what is that, 4 inches? So it suits the tyre quite well. The profile is absolutely spot on for a 21-inch. And originally I was going to buy, because you can get it in stainless steel now for about 38 quid, the original top mount stainless steel mudguard bracket, which bolts underneath the bottom yoke, and this ends up like being about here somewhere like that. But I thought this time it's not a scrambler, it's going to be a, let's say, a trials type or green lane. I'm going to go for down about here somewhere, which just keeps me away where I would need to maybe scallop something out for these without actually butchering it up too much. So it's going to stand off probably about this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use these original mountings here, and I've got a bit of 2mm, I was going to say 316, I think it's 305 Stay Bright or something. I know it's not very easy to cut, but I was thinking of making a bracket to bolt on the back that comes out like that, slim it off a little bit to reduce the weight, and then for the mudguard itself, a bit of 2mm by 20 aluminium would pick up off this with a couple of straps over the top, and then I'll just pop rivet those on. So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to make a cardboard template first for this, see what profile I can get, because obviously the broader away this side and this side is going to give you a lot better support for the alley guard. But these alley guards, you know, they are rigid, they're quite quite strong. So that's going to sit something like so. I'll have to just drop the front wheel out anyway. I know I've cleaned the threads up on this one, but the threads are a bit manky inside the two fork legs, so they all want cleaning out. See what stainless bolts I've got. Get my cardboard template cut, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll catch you when it's done. Okay, we're up to the point where I was designing the brackets for the front mudguard mounts, and unfortunately I know I tried to screw the cable, the front brake and the speedo cable on a P-clamp, and I'm really struggling with the threads with the wheel in situ, and I know that the 5/16 UNF, but you take a close, drop the wheel out now, you take a closer look, there's actually, the threads are gone completely. However, looking at the chart for the imperial metric sizes, 5/16 UNF still gives me enough to go through with a 6.8mm drill and give me a full thread in M8 metric. So I'm gonna, even though the threads on that one aren't very good either, that one's not too bad. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill them all out to 6.8mm, which is the tapping size for 8mm, 5.8, sorry, 6.8mm gives you M8. I'm going to do them all M8. There should be a coarse thread anyway in aluminium, not a fine thread. So then that gives me a solid foundation for this front mudguard mount bracket stay that I'm going to make. So first hurdle is the threads are damaged in the fork legs, but they're going to come good. So let's move on from there. Okay, I ended up making some studs for these. It's turned out quite well. They've not turned out too bad. So they're M8 now, and they're bottomed out and Loctited in, and because I've only got a 275 width rim, I can leave the studs in rather than fitting bolts, because I've got 2 3/8 gap, so the tie's going to pass through there quite easily. And obviously, because this is soft material, it's far better there being a coarse thread in there and the studs being in there permanently and just spinning the nuts on and off, because obviously there's less chance of damage, like I think it was that one that the threads are, no, it was that one that the threads were pulled out of. But if you've got 5/16 UNF, you can drill out 6.8 tapping drill and tap M8 and get a full thread. So we can now move on to the next stage, and let's get some cardboard and create some templates for the mounts. See you in a sec. So I took a few measurements for the front mudguard. I came up with a bit of a plan. So there's something like this. So the material it's actually 3mm. This might be a bit heavy, but I'll waste the middle away. It'll certainly be strong enough. So took some measurements, got a template. So we know we've got the stud, our new studs in there. That's going to sit on there, and I'm just going to stand him off maybe 25mm or 20mm, and then a couple of aluminium straps over the top of the mudguard, and then I'll just pop rivet those on. So let's hack this bit of material out, make one, see how it fits. If it fits okay, then I'll make the other one, then I'll look for some material for the straps to go over the top of the mudguard, and they'll riveted, the straps will be riveted on, but I'm going to bolt the straps to this bracket. So let's crack on and keep going. Okay, I think we're there now for this part. Not too bad. So pop riveted and bolted, so the wheel comes out no problem, plenty of space behind here, and I used a couple of 25mm pieces of wood on top of the tyre to get the height, and then I made the top brackets. So let's have a bit of a closer look. So there's the front view. So clearance on everything, and proportionally, I'm not sure, but that's where I think is about right proportion. How much to the back, how much to the front. It's absolutely solid, rigid. So yeah, quite pleased with it. So moving on for the next one, it's gonna be the wiring harness. So I've got a few ideas in my head, but we're going to design it with the minimum cable runs down the spine, and 2 zones. One zone will be around here. I propose to make an aluminium plate so I can mount all the bits and pieces on there, regulator, rectifier, CDI unit, etc. And then the rest of the connections are going to be inside the headlight, and then there'll be a fly lead coming up to a Tricon or a Ducon or a Tricon Y pack on this side of the handlebars. And I put the horn here. I just bolted it on somewhere. What I'll probably do is get a piece of angle aluminium and put the horn sideways on here. So it's not going to interfere, it'll just miss everything. But the idea is the minimum amount of cable runs down the spine, because I've got this quite a large steering angle, so I want it to be kind to the cable. So the minimum bundle of multi-core cable, the better for going round the corner of the headstock. So we'll see how we get on, and we'll catch you on the next one for the design of the wiring harness. Simple as possible, minimum amount of cable runs, and just try and keep it, the less connections in it, the more reliable it's going to be. So we'll catch you on the next one.